Good morning. We got some nervous energy up here this morning. I don't know if it's me or them or a combination of both, but we appreciate y'all. We appreciate y'all giving us the opportunity to come up here and share. A couple weeks ago, we went to the Baptist Children's Home, did some work there for a couple days, but leading up to that for about 2-3 months, we talked about becoming fishers of men because that's what God calls us to be. And we learned through that fear is the biggest factor that holds us back from doing that. So God laid a verse on our heart, 2 Timothy 1:7, which Callie's going to share with y'all here in a minute, and that became our verse for this trip. And then our theme became Live It, which that's why all these shirts say Live It. But, and the reason Live It is because if God has made us a people to not be afraid that He has called to do His work, then we need to go out and live it. We can't just talk about it, we got to go out and do it. So that's what we attempted to do, and I think we did a fairly good job with it. I'm so proud of these kids and the job they did. It was fantastic. It was awesome to watch them work and come out of their comfort zone and do what God was telling them to do. But to get the shirts, they all had to memorize the verse. So they've all memorized this verse. They know it, and that's how they got their shirts. But we're going to let them come up here. They all have specific parts of the trip they're going to talk about, and then they're going to share what the trip meant to them. So I think Callie's going to kick us off here.
Our memory verse was 2 Timothy 1:7. For God has not given us a spirit of fear and timidity, but of love and self-discipline. The verse helped me. It helped me remember that I don't have to be afraid because I worry about everything. And how the trip helped me, it allowed me to get closer to everybody in the youth group and to watch those kids smile that haven't in a while meant a lot to us.
Okay, so the first thing that we did when we got there was we introduced ourselves to the kids and they told us their names. And when we got there, the big surprise was these kids were like ranging from 7 to 19, and we were expecting kids that were a lot younger than that, and so we had to kind of adjust a little bit. Working with them was a major blessing and a growing experience for all of us. Next, we split into two groups. Me and Josh had the older groups, and Scott and Caitlin had the younger group. We did a Bible story with them, and then next we did several games with them. Rebecca had a lot of relay games set out for them, and we all enjoyed playing with them. And by the end of the day, most of us had a kid who had attached themselves to us and wanted to do everything with us and wanted to talk to us and wanted us to talk to them. And Scott even had a young boy tell him that he wished we could stay the entire week with him. So that was just each day we grew closer to each other and closer to these kids. And just personally, it meant the world to me to go and do this with these kids and just to see them smile and to watch our youth group grow and grow closer together.
I had the afternoon events, which was like we would go out after we'd visit the children's home, and we'd do a bunch of like just games with the youth group. One evening we went to Lake Junaluska, which was really fun because we could each do our own thing, or we could get together and get in a canoe and stuff. The canoe was fun if I could have kept it up with Dalton and Corbin in it. We flipped it a few times, but it was still fun. This trip meant a lot to me because it was about facing fears and having fun with the youth group. But to start off with, I was nervous. I was extremely nervous. I was afraid that I would mess up and the kids wouldn't get my message. But after spending time with the kids, I realized that this trip's for fun. And after I realized that, I had the best trip I've ever had.
All right. I had the puzzle room, which is our final. What was our final evening event for the time that we was there after children's home? Well, the puzzle room was we had to all work together to get out of this one room, and there was so many locks. I don't want to say a lock again. But even though half of us were test team, the other ones was just comic relief, really. So like, it was really fun there, and And what the trip meant to me is showing me that not everyone has what I have or what someone else has, you know. So yeah.
So each night when we got back to our hotel room, all of us were cramming Scott and Rebecca's one little room. And Scott wouldn't let us sit on his bed, so he's all sitting in the floor.
This is only the girls.
Yeah. So we would go in there and do our devotion, and we'd start by praying, and then we would sing. And then Scott and Rebecca made like little books we'd fill out every night with questions about the kids, and we would do those and discuss things, and then we'd do like our own Bible lesson, and then we'd sing again and close in prayer. And what this trip meant to me was just getting to see the kids light up every time we walked into the room, and getting to see how happy they were to see us, and just how close we all grew together. But we've grew up together, but we haven't all been that close. But this trip, we were all like a big family. And then the boys really stepped up this trip. Like, the boys were usually just standing in the back, kind of shy, but they really showed their courage this trip, and I like seeing them grow.
On the last event, we closed the trip out with an obstacle course. And there were a total of 5 courses that their difficulty was arranged by colors, starting with the easiest, green, then going to yellow, blue, orange, and then the hardest, red. I did orange and red because personally I like a good challenge. And yes, there were obstacles that were really difficult, and I thought I was going to die on them. But
It's pretty hard.
Dalton couldn't get 20 foot off that.
okay, anyways. Yes, they were hard, but with a little confidence and a little motivation from the other members, we were able to get through the courses easily. And this course was a lot like life, where once in a while you find yourself in a tough situation that you can't get yourself out of. But if you just put your trust in God, you can get through anything that comes your way. And this trip didn't just help the kids, it also helped us. We grew closer as a group and as a family, and helped us grow in faith and have more trust in God.
Thanks for all your all's prayers. It helped a lot on this trip. What this trip means to me is, well, it means a lot to me because it helped me strengthen my faith in God, and it helped me grow closer to the other members of our group. And it's fun to share God and do activities with the kids there.
Well, I speak for all of us when we say thank you for the financial support. It was a huge help, and I just want to thank you for that. And well, anyway, you see, what this trip meant to me was it was an opportunity and a chance to see what other people's lives are like, and just it was a blessing to see them grow and actually like us. And it's great. Funny enough, I actually connected with a kid named Dalton. He was fairly new there, so he didn't have many friends. So I talked to him. We had a lot of fun. Oh Lord, it was great. It's really fun. Just thank y'all for everything that you've helped us through.
I don't get a note card or anything. I just get thrown up here with a kid and a bear. So when we were asked to go, it was like, we have to take our kid, and so it's going to be hard, and we're not going to get to enjoy this. But me and Gabe kind of, well, of course, he stayed about right here. And I wish you could have seen these guys. We have a slideshow. I took pictures because we had to be very careful with that and everything. And there's a slideshow, and there's one little kid. Corbin, that kid loved you. I don't even know his name. He had a Star Wars shirt on, so
Star Wars.
so we called him Star Wars.
Yeah.
Second day, I don't even know what he wore, but there is a picture of you. You'll see it on the slideshow. That kid is smiling from head to toe. But if you'll notice, when we first got there and we started playing these games with them, our games were a little childish at first because, like Grace said, we were playing in for older kids. Yeah, don't make fun of me. They picked on me.
Sorry.
And so, but when we got there and we're playing these games, these kids are kind of bored, I guess, because they're low-key and over-under was kind of, I mean, it was fun. But they were a little bored, I guess, like we could have done this without y'all here. Gabe, stop. These kids taught my kids some stuff.
I taught him how to dance. It was great.
But then you'll see later in the slideshow, you'll see a picture of Star Wars kid. He's got a big shirt on that says Star Wars. And at first, he's a little mad because he's there, I guess. I mean, we don't know their situations. We don't know what their life was like. But then there's a picture of Corbin and him playing. And Corbin's dragging him across the field because it was the three-legged race, and Corbin wanted to win, and Corbin's dragging him. And then in one game, Corbin just picked him up and carried him because it was like, we're never going to get there. But his smile is so big. And Corbin, you did that. You made that kid smile, and he was so happy that day. And it was just... But these guys were so great. I mean... They loved them. They did. They each had like a kid that just drawed to them. Poor Callie had this little girl that she thought that the sun rose and set in Callie, and she stayed right with her. But then the second day we got there, and we did it was different. The guys took everybody up. Me and Rebecca set up downstairs for they were going to paint rocks. And these two little girls came running down there, and they wasn't supposed to. We found that out. But they came running down there, and they couldn't wait to see us. And it was like, oh, they like us. They really like us. They want to see what we're doing. But they were just so excited to see us. And you guys need to be really proud of these guys because they did step it up. But we did have a great time, and I think Gabe and DJ are going to show you some of their tricks here.
I'm all right with that.
I think everything's already been covered. The thing that I got to see, you can tell a lot about a kid's raising, a lot about their parents, and by the way that they treat other kids and the way that they treat. I saw firsthand them treating Gabe. Gabe was just one of them, and just a testimony to that. We had to do some other things before we got to head straight home after the event and everything, or after the last day. And Gabe was getting ready to go to sleep, or fell asleep, and he woke up, and the first thing he said is, "Where's everybody at? Where's the kids at? Where's the guys at? And where's my friends?" And so we got to catch back up with them and eat with them and everything. But just to see that, just to see these kids interact with the kids, to show also to see them adapt, as they've already stated, the difference in age gaps, what we were preparing for. And then here you go, you're thrown, we had maybe 5 minutes to kind of get prepared for the older kids and kind of talk about things and how it was going to go a little bit different. But they adapted. That's just evidence that God was in control. They were ready for God to be in control. And there again, the parents, grandparents, anybody that's had an impact on these kids, you guys have done an awesome job. And another thing I'd like to point out too, me and Scott got talking about the first meal that we went to after we got and settled down. We went to Chick-fil-A. We're Good Baptists. We went to Chick-fil-A. No, we were sitting there, me and Scott was talking, and he said, these kids are so well behaved, and they are. I mean, they just please, thank you, clean up after themselves. I mean, they're awesome to take out. And again, that's just a testimony to you guys, how you guys have done a really, really well job of raising them and and treating them right, and you don't have to worry a thing about these guys when they get out. I mean, they've done an awesome job. But again, seeing them play with the kids, I know it's already been said, but seeing them play with the kids and just be right there down with them, and I mean, building those relationships, that's the biggest, in my opinion, one of the biggest parts of Christianity is building relationships. And first your relationship with Jesus, but then growing closer to other people, so that way you can share the gospel with other people. And there again, they've done an excellent job at that.
And they did invite us to come back, which was kind of surprising to us, because a lot of people they don't invite to come back, and they invited us to come back and actually stay on the campus with them next time. So we're excited and we're proud of these kids, and we've got a little slideshow we're going to see now. So thank y'all.
Thank you.